What's up, feasters? Welcome back to another great episode of the Anime Feast. I'm Dominique, and with me, as always, are my lovely co-host Matt
What up, everybody?
and Tawan.
What up? Itadakimasu.
Guys, man, last week, you know what? We're not gonna get there yet. Guys, we're reviewing My Hero Academia, Chapter 336. Last week ended off with a great cliffhanger. All for One mentioned that he has friends all over the place, and it went to go to, and then it panned into UA, and we all saw Invisible Girl. We all saw.
How can you see her if she's invisible?
So we saw the gloves and the silhouette of Toru Hakaguri, and we were all confident that he was meaning that she was the traitor. That's where it left off. And before we go into anything else with that,
Make sure you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel and give us a follow and ring the notification bell.
absolutely. But the chapter starts off without talking about this anymore. We get back to Deku. We get back to Bakugo. We get back to Class 1A. And everyone is training once again with Deku to continue to increase their powers and then their quirks. And it's pretty cool because obviously it starts with Bakugo and him talking about how he learned to sweat more and use more techniques with more sweat bullets. And it was really cool to just like see Bakugo continue to develop. Once again, anybody who still hates Bakugo or tries to talk about who Bakugo doesn't have character development can shut up because Bakugo is one of the best developed characters ever. And it's just continuing to show it here. And I'm freaking loving it.
No, I'm very much enjoying that everybody's about to get their next power up kind of thing. And like this is a nice training arc too that they're actually it's gonna be short, sweet. Like they're talking about like how they're gonna get their power ups and it's like how they're adapting to their abilities, and we're gonna see them be played in action in this final. This is not the final arc, I assume, but at the same time it might be since it's like end game with
One for All,
Shiragaki and everybody, and All for One.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is an overall final arc because, everything is coming to like a head.
Yep.
Especially because Shigaraki and One for All or All for One?
All for One.
All for One. All for One, yeah. Like, there's been so much with them, and then especially Shigaraki, the past few chapters fighting Stars and Stripes coming to such a head. And like Itadori, he went on his own, came back. So yeah, it's definitely starting to wrap up, but I definitely love to see the progression of everyone, especially Bakugo. I don't know, I just got to reiterate how much I love their power system and how it like actually tells like the metabolic and scientific ways of how their power works. So like Bakugo's getting like a winter suit because he doesn't sweat as much in the winter, so he has to make himself sweat. Learning from Endeavor, Todoroki, he's like finding out he has a perfect balance between his body. That's been cool to learn about. So
that he can now use his fire power as well as he can use his ice power, and now he's trying to combine it to where his body will not burn from Dabi, because obviously Dabi's fire is the strongest fire. Because he's got to fight Dabi.
That fight's gonna be fucking sick.
It's gonna be really good, and then see him fight fire with fire, and then cool him down with ice. So it's gonna be great.
Yep, because what I assume, since Dabi's body burns with his fire, that means his body can't handle fire. But does that mean his body can handle ice? Because that's kind of how the siblings' bodies have been. If you can either handle fire or ice. So I'm assuming Dabi's fine with ice but can't take fire. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what they alluded to when they first introduced him or really told about his backstory. Because I think he had the body of his mom, but the powers of his dad.
Yeah. But then we get to Dinky talking about like it's gonna be an all-out war soon, and they're pretty much thinking that it's pretty set in stone. Like we got Gigantomachia. He's tied down. He's we got him. He's asleep. He's not getting back up anytime soon. It should be pretty quick for us now. It shouldn't be too difficult. And Bakugo and them are all like, and you're wrong. There are 3 reasons why this is not the case. And goes over like everything from The villains still having control in terms of like they're the ones that, as he said, have their finger on the trigger. Like the villains know where the heroes are. The heroes have no idea where the villains are. So it's pretty much like the villains control when the battle will begin, because that's just how it is. There's no way they're gonna go ahead.
They still have the upper hand right now. Like villains are still in very much, like what you said, they're very much in control. Yes, like Shigaraki, like yes, his power removed for One for All with Stars and Stripes quirking him. Yeah, that's a good advantage for the heroes, but they're still in this vantage spot. They're still above the ledge. They're still looking down. They're still looking down on Anakin.
Yep, it was, they can't find the villains. There's almost no way they'll find the villains. Two, Shigaraki's body wasn't even complete the last time, and like now he's going to be even more complete. So like that's and then third, obviously, with the villains get to choose when to attack. So it's a very dark spot for everyone, but it's fine because again, all of the Class 1A students are prepared. They are not afraid of this fight. They are strengthening up right now, fully ready for what's about to happen. And then we get back to the traitor part, which everyone forgot about the traitor stuff because it hasn't been mentioned for years. And I'm pretty sure there was a rumor that was going out at one point where there was like the writer forgot that he even had a traitor plot line. It's like everyone was like, okay, so the traitor thing wasn't even real. Like that was bull crap. No. It's back. And again, we all were made to assume at the end of last chapter that it was Toru Hakaguri, the Invisible Girl. And it made sense because everyone was like, okay, it makes sense that it's her because she's invisible, so no one even knows what she looks like. For all we know, she could actually be an older individual, and we just think she's a student because like we can't see her and she signed up for the school. And because she's invisible, she could easily go run off and communicate with All For One, and no one would ever know. And then we go into the woods, and she's hiding alone in the woods, and everyone's like, okay, so it really is this chick. No. No.
It's the one we least expected, I think.
Well, I was telling that earlier. There were people who early on assumed that it could have been him because of something that happened chapters ago back in the school, but it turns out to be Seat 1, Yuga Aoyama. How do you say his name? But like Naval Laser.
Yeah.
Naval Laser is the traitor. But it's because he was born quirkless, and his parents went to All For One for a quirk because they didn't want him to be ostracized as a kid. And once you get help from All For One, you cannot leave All For One's shadow. He has full control over you. So like it was wild to see this, and he's freaking out at this point. He can't do it anymore. He gets nervous every time. He gets scared every time. And when Invisible Girl like found this out, she was like, I have to go find a teacher or tell someone because like this has to be known. And Deku was there, and Deku was like, I guess it didn't show her find Deku, but somehow it's Deku said that he told her. But man,
I think it was Deku's like sixth sense, like the danger sense is like, oh, somebody's in trouble. I gotta go see him. I gotta go see this person in the forest, and that's how he showed up. Because like before he was with Bakugo and everybody, and like then all of a sudden he just pops out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, because she was like, she's gonna go find someone, but then as you know, Deku was there, and then he was like, Hakaguri just told me what she heard, and that you're the traitor, Aoyama. And then his parents freak out. Nonsense. That's not what you heard. You're crazy. That girl's lying to you. Nah, she didn't hear that right. And Aoyama's like, no, it was me. It was me. And he's like breaking down, and Deku's starting to have it make sense. He's like, you're the one who's looked the most gloomy lately. And that's why he was out there. He's like, Aoyama looked so gloomy, so he went to go look for him, and that's when he heard what was happening. And Aoyama was like, yeah, everything that happened, every single attack was because of me. I let them in. I told them everything. I am a villain.
It's just weird.
I wonder
Okay, that's fine.
I was gonna say, I know like we say his laser helped like making his stomach feel like that, but I wonder if like it's also like that guilt that he's been feeling. It's just like eating away at him. So
like the queasiness, like when you know you're lying to somebody kind of thing.
Yeah, especially because he's like been becoming friends with them. It's just like,
It's,
Well, I think he was always actually friends with them. It's just that because of
betrayed
the
him.
because of the pull that All for One has, like he also had to do what All for One did, like told him to do. It's like he was actually friends, but then All for One would be like, "Okay, I need you to do this," and he's like, "I have to listen to All for One. I have to hurt my friends, but I can't tell my friends because then if I tell my friends, he's gonna kill my parents and maybe me." It's like a tough situation to be in. And again, he's a kid, so like I don't
he's just
fault
doing
him.
what his parents
He's a
told him to
kid.
do, kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's like
I
exactly.
feel for him. I know he's not evil, but it's just he was put in a bad situation, and like Itadori kind of could have been in that same situation. Like he's
Hmm.
like the opposite because he got his powers from One for All, whereas he got his powers from All for One. Uh, so it's just it sucks, and they just are polar opposites at this point.
I think there's also another traitor because, like, I don't know, like, because you go like when you said seat one, now I'm like, hey, he is seat one, but like, how much pull does actually All for One have in UA? Because like, if he's seat one and he gave him the quirk power, like, he was the first accepted student to be class 1A seat one, like, he's the first person there. How much do you think All for One actually had the power of doing that, or if that, I guess his evaluation was just that good that he got the first seat in class 1A?
Yeah, I
That's
do.
my thinking at least.
Well, I don't know how the seed system works. I don't know if it's like you perform the best because obviously Momo is like one of the tops, but she's seed 20. But I do find it interesting that like how that system does work because obviously we know a bunch of people from class, what is it, 1B that we think would be much better suited for the hero class than some of the people in class 1A. So I'm like, it
Oh,
doesn't make sense.
like the Invisible Girl. Like I know
The
she's
Invisible Girl,
invisible.
Mineta with the balls, like some of these quirks, like the Kung Fu kids, the dude with the tail with
Yeah,
Kung Fu. Like I
yeah.
understand your quirk seems
The
pretty cool, but like there are people in Class 1B that have way better, abilities that would make more sense in the hero class than these people. So like I have no idea how they chose Class 1A because it makes no sense.
yeah,
For half these people, it makes no sense.
I was gonna say it probably wasn't. I don't know if you guys ever saw that Sky High movie.
Yes.
It was like that. The gym teacher is like he just assesses their power. He's like, something like me, hero, you sidekick.
It's like,
Like,
Oh.
but Bonetta, he definitely would have been a
it's like,
sidekick,
hey,
even though like he has a pretty powerful, not powerful, but useful ability just because he
Hmm.
can get someone stuck and he can't do anything offensively himself. But if
such a silly
him and like
power.
Midoriya, like if you get someone stuck and then Midoriya is just like, hey, I'm gonna punch him, or Bakugo's like, I'm gonna blow him up, freeze, ice, anything. He's like a good complementary power. But yeah.
So yeah, how shocked are you guys that it was Naval Laser?
I
I am super shocked because I wasn't expecting it at all. Especially because we don't see much of him other than like him just trying to get a little bit of notoriety and like fame for himself, but he just acts silly most of the time. So
but at the same time, the people were there since like since the force fight, which is so long ago. It makes
Hmm.
sense. It totally makes sense, but I don't.
Yeah, the training grounds
Yeah,
battle. The first one was in the school, and they were like,
but
okay, so how did the villains know we were gonna be here? It's like someone had to tell them something. Okay, but okay, we won't. We'll keep it all secluded for the second one. We're not gonna tell anybody outside of the students. We're not even gonna tell the students until like right before. No one should know. Villains showed up again, and they were like, how the hell there's a traitor here? Because there's no way that we would that this would be known.
because
And then we didn't hear anything else about it after that for a long time.
that's where the seeds were planted for the trader part. And then I thought it was I thought it was a teacher the entire time. I thought it was like some teacher, and like we all thought like it might have been the principal, actually, the principal
Hmm.
himself. Like it's
Hmm.
like that makes sense because like it's like, oh, the principal knows all the stuff, so like who would leak the information but the principal himself? But it makes sense that it is Yugo, especially after like even when Midori, like he was talking, he's like, Midori, like I'm the only one who never said anything to you when we were
he
trying
came
the
back.
rescue Deku. Yeah, when the rescue Deku arc was happening. But I also didn't think Toru also said anything. I thought she was also silent. She was invisible in the conversation also.
But what I also think is interesting is I wonder if it wasn't necessarily that Yuga told anybody anything, because he said I led them to us each time. I wonder if it's that All for One put a tracker essentially in Yuga, like a way to track him in his location. So that way he doesn't have to ask Yuga or you like to communicate with him about where he is, but instead he can just find him.
Because I was like, since he gave him the quirk, does he know where he is all the time anyway?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
curious about. Like, if is that part of how All for One gives his stuff? Like, I can find you. Like, obviously he doesn't have the full tracker quirk because he didn't have it at that time that they got from the Pussycat. But just like there was a way for him to find them, and I'm wondering if it's like he just had either like a chip implemented or like we said, or when All for One gives a quirk, he can feel where that quirk is, and that way that's how he found him every time. So it wasn't that like Yuga had like disappeared somewhere, made a call, and was like yada yada yada, but instead All for One was just like, okay, they're gonna be here because I can feel where they are.
Because I know it comes into the end. Is it something to do with the cheese pieces? I don't ever remember Yuga with like cheese pieces, and like that very end is like I know, like the cheese pieces spelling out I know on the final page. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if that's just like
just coincidence almost.
yeah, just to be like written for us to see. I don't know if that's gonna have any actual relevance, but
Because if anything, that more points me to the sugar guy, the Koji Kodo, or was it Sato? I can't remember the one of the background characters for 1A, but I feel for Yugo though. I feel for him though, man. It's like you're not relevant, and now you're so relevant, and like I feel so guilty for him. And like he never asked for this.
nope. It's his parents' fault. He was quirkless. He was fine being. Well, I guess he probably wasn't fine being quirkless, but he was quirkless, and his parents were like, "We want our son to have a quirk," and went to All for One. And man, yeah, that's I think that's crazy.
I have so many theories for him right now in my head, and I need to write them down. But he's like, yeah, he's like dazzling gleam, but like, is he actually crying, or is he actually just like trying to think? Is like, oh, I'm betraying all my friends, so he's like crying. That's why he gets the sparkle in his eyes. And then if he smile, and then he's smiling because he's nervous, kind of like a Fire Force guy.
Wait, at what point are you talking about?
Just like Yuga and his character in general, like he's like.
I just think he's actually like a quirky, happy person. But then when because like it's only when he gets the order that I feel like he freaks out, because that's why he was freaking out in the woods just now, is because his parents were like, the order just came in, so like we just got told we have another thing we have to do.
Do this before he kills us.
Yeah, and that's why he's like crying and freaking out again, because he's like, I don't wanna, but then like if you don't, then we'll all die. Just kind of finishing up here with my hero. What I'm curious about next is when Yuga was talking to his parents, they were like, "Don't worry, this like as always, even if they intercept the message, it's in code. They'll think it's just communication between civilians, and no security can catch us, so it's all fine." Now that they've been discovered, I wonder if they'll tell what the message was from All for One, and if that will lead to them finding the location of All for One or understanding their next plan of attack from the villains. Or if the parents and Yuga don't say anything, just get taken in and just like call it there. Because again, there is an order. There's something that they were just told that only they know about from All for One. So if that information can be gotten out of them, that would be able to help the heroes. Or do they just not say anything because they're afraid they're going to die from All for One? And then like, what happens to them then? So I'm very curious as to if they'll crack. I think Yuga will crack. I think with how he's reacting right now, and Midoriya being upset and all that stuff, I think if he gets captured, which there's no way, Deku doesn't catch them right here and like bring them in with his abilities. I wonder if he is able to like take them in and in the face of all of his classmates, just like caves, and it's just like this is what they're going to do next.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that Deku is gonna make them go out. Like Deku is sweethearted enough that he's definitely gonna fight for them. And like I think that a lot of the UA teachers and principals understand where they're coming from. So it's been this fear that hey, I've been betraying them, but they know that he's a good guy. So they're gonna put him under like lock and key, not in like a bad way of like, hey, you're gonna be in a dungeon, but like we're going to keep you protected. We're protecting everyone. Our goal is to save everyone. We know that you've been put in a bad situation, but you're human, so everyone's fallible.
But they'll also have to, if they do that, they'll have to. I think they'll have to put them under, like, in a room. Like, I don't know, obviously not in, like I said, not in the dungeon, but they're gonna have to lock them in somewhere. Yeah. But also at the same time, the people, the actual civilians, didn't want Deku there because they knew All For One was coming after Deku. If they know that a agent of All For One is there now as well, like there's no way. So that it's gonna have to be kept hush.
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to tell like the civilians, but the heroes are gonna know, and that's just gonna be probably the leg up that they need to get themselves in a powerful position to like get the upper hand or at least be more prepared for what's coming.
See, I don't think that actually. It's like because the villains know where UA is, they know where the structure is, and like them knowing where Yugo is, it doesn't matter to them. They just know like they don't have a pawn in their piece anymore. They pretty much just lost a pawn in chess. Like yes, like it hurts, but at the same time, it's not that game over at this point for the villains. It's just a small little setback.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a decent sized setback because this was like, there's a difference when you have a pawn like with the sniper chick they had who was like a headhunter compared to someone who was literally in the midst of the people you were going after, like someone who can tell you every single move, detail, bit of information that you need about the person. So I would say he's more of like a rook.
Yeah. Rook or a bishop, like just in the backfield, just like waiting for them to move and then just going back and telling the king or queen, like, oh yeah, by the way, they're doing this. And but man, I can't wait till next week. That's all.
Yep. And there isn't a break, so we'll have more information next week. I'm excited to dive into that review and read the chapter. But any final thoughts on My Hero, guys?
Nope. Just super excited for what's to come.
I just want Midori to do something, just like hit him across the head. And it's like, it's okay. Like hit him across the head and give him a hug. He's like, it's okay. Like yes, he messed up, but we're still friends at the end of the day.
I don't see that because My Hero has gotten very dark. To the point where I don't think lovey-dovey is a thing anymore with them, but we'll see.
I don't know. I do. Midori is still like. I mean, that's the whole reason he went off on his own was to protect everyone. So he's still gonna want to protect them.
Like you're an idiot.
I'm not saying they're not gonna want to protect, but I don't see him hitting him over the head and being like, "You're okay," and giving me like the buddy part is out of the window. He's not gonna be buddy, but he's gonna be like, "I'll protect you," like I'm protecting the civilians, but he's not gonna be like, "Come here, friend, I'll make sure you're safe." That ain't gonna happen.
It's gonna be like the Rescue Deku arc. So it's like they have beat up Deku a little bit. It's like, dude, like you're doing this on your own. Like you don't have to do this on your own. We're here with you. He's gonna do the same thing. It's like, yes, I know you betrayed us before, but like now we can start anew. Like we can blank slate this.
We'll see. But guys, be sure to follow us on our social media. We are on Twitter as Anime Feast, on YouTube as Anime Feast, and on Instagram as The Anime Feast. Drop a like, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. Did you expect the traitor to be Yuga? How surprised were you? What do you think is going to happen next? Let us know. And we look forward to talking to you guys later. Till the next time.
Peace.
Peace.